This is Rob Carbone, and you're listening to BD4.
He loops out to left field. Going to be a tough play. Jeter on the run, makes the play. And flies into the stands. Oh, what a play by Derek Jeter. There it goes. Deep to left. Really deep. See ya. Oh, my goodness. What a shot by Aaron Judge.
Way back left field. You've got to be kidding me. Goodbye, home run. I swear to God, you got to put four fingers up. Torres comes to the plate.
See ya. A home run by Derek Jeter. Oh, what a ball game. A game-winning walk-off home run by Derek Jeter. He is Mr. November.
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Goodbye, home run.
It is high, it is far, it is gone. A tremendous home run to the back end of the grandstand in left field. The Sanchino. Oh, that Gary is scary.
Ball game over. Yankees win. Ah! Yankees win.
What's going on, guys? This is Rob Carbone coming at you with another episode of BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yes, we're finally gonna hit on the Yankees for a little bit. You know, it's taken me a little bit, but obviously there's been nothing going on, so I haven't done much. You know, we've just been covering the Knicks, and that gets boring. You know, it gets to you, and I think I need a break from covering that sad sack of shit. And I figured we'd talk about the Yankees for a couple of minutes this time around. Now, you know, the reason I haven't covered, talk about the Yanks much lately, we just said, but it's just this whole this whole proposal thing is just so tiring to me. It seems like everybody loves talking about this. Everyone's just been talking about this shit for months. Will they do this? Will they do that? The owners and the players just feuding over contract negotiations and talking about how many games will make it a realistic season. To me, I feel like I'm the only baseball fan who's fucking tired of hearing it. I feel like everybody loves talking about that nonsense. To me, it's bullshit. I don't care. The only thing I want to talk about, the only thing I want to know at this point, are we getting a season or are we not getting a season? That's all I care about. So that's why I haven't been covering Yankees, man. I don't want to waste my time talking about the same old, repeated, boring-ass subject that everybody seems to be talking about right now. I just feel like it wouldn't be good content for you guys. So that's why I didn't cover it. So that really, and we still don't have anything to talk about this time around. I just felt like it's been so long since I've been, talked about the Yankees and the MLB. I felt I needed to, do something, throw it out there, just because this is what BD4 was originally for. If you didn't know, back when I started the podcast almost a year ago, wow, it was BD4 because it's the Yankees. And if you don't know what BD4 stands for, BD4 are the three different routes, the subway routes to Yankee Stadium. That's why my motto here is no better way, right? So that's what it was originally about. It was supposed to be a podcast that covered the Yankees. And, we were originally going to, it was supposed to be a podcast where I would dissect each series of the season. I would have an episode out after every series, and that's what it originally was, for a while. And then the Yankees season ended, and then we got to the Knicks talking about their season, and we recapped every 2 games for the Knicks. And now baseball is still postponed here, so we haven't been able to do anything. So yeah, that's, in case you didn't know, just a little bit of a backstory to how, and why it's called BD4, and to why we haven't been doing anything Yankees, despite the podcast being named after them. But yes, that's it. If you're watching the podcast as opposed to listening, I'm playing a couple of old clips. Got some Jeter clips playing, and in the next segment of the show, which won't be too long, which won't be, too much further from now because there's not much to talk about. But it's going to be we'll be playing some A-Rod clips too. So, but yeah, I mean, these proposals we're hearing, I just felt like it didn't really make sense for me to make an episode that everybody's talking about, and I really don't give a shit. I just, I'm a right to the point guy. I just want to know if we're gonna have a season, if we're not gonna have a fucking season. Just tell me yes or no. Let me know when the answer, let me know when we figure this out. Until then, not gonna waste my time talking about it. But while we're here, yes, they've been talking about some kind of proposal. I think the latest has been like a 48 game proposal for this season. I've heard 50 to 60, but today I went on the internet and Yahoo said 48 game proposal. Is it raining out? I hear like rain, but it's not. But yeah, 48 games to me, that is just absolutely fucking ridiculous. I feel, and again, I don't want to get too much into this, yet here I am, but I feel like 48 games is just insane. I feel like baseball, and any baseball fan, any long-term baseball fan who respects the game should know what I'm talking about here. But baseball is supposed to be a marathon, right? Anything less than 100 games, and honestly, even 100 seems a little too low to me. Anything less than that, though, it seems like it's just not baseball. Baseball is all about the ebbs and flows, right? It's all about that marathon, having those streaks and your highs and lows and your ups and downs. That's what it's supposed to be about. That's why the winner of the World Series, it's so interesting to see the winner who can get through this dogfight, this long marathon, and be the champion, who has, dealt with that fatigue, that long, tiresome season. And I feel like 40 fucking 8 games is nothing. That's practically half of a basketball season, which is already half of the baseball season originally. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. I feel like there's no way you could not put an asterisk next to the name of the team who wins this season, if there is one. 48 games, man, even 50 to 60, that's just ridiculous to me. I don't love it. That said, I'm such a big fan of the Yankees. I'm such a big fan of baseball that if that did happen, if I looked at my phone this morning and the notification said, or tomorrow morning I pick up my phone, I get a notification that says baseball's coming back, 48 games, there's going to be that initial reaction where I jump for joy just because it's baseball and I love it, right? So of course it's baseball. I will love it. If it comes back, I'm not going to be disappointed because I love the game. But when it comes down to picking it apart and really dissecting things here and actually evaluating how I think this season's going to play out, I don't think a 48 game season is I don't think it's orthodox enough to really put any legitimacy to it. Does that make sense? I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't make sense to have such a short season. If it were to play out, obviously I'd watch it. Obviously I love it. I'd get into the games, but I just don't feel like it's legitimate enough. I don't know, man. 48 games, 50 games, 60 games, anything less than 100-something games, it's just not enough to me. Baseball is supposed to be about the streaks. And, if we do this 50-something game season, whatever it is, we're going to have 500 teams making the playoffs. And here's the thing, being an ebb and flow game, like I said, the Yankees, they have their slow starts. So if we limit the amount of games by this much, there's a chance that those streaky type of teams that are usually great or very good won't make the playoffs, right? And we've seen the Yankees with their mediocre, 11-11, starts, and they're just around 500 starts in April and May, or March and April, and then they get hot, a little, month and a half in or so. So you're going to see some really odd when it comes down to a playoff seeding, if we do have this really abbreviated season. We could see Gary Sanchez hitting fucking 370 because he can get hot like that. Or we can see him hitting, $180 again because he can get cold like that. And in such a short amount of time, you don't have room for all these streaks. You just have, you have that little window to do your job. And, we could get some very unorthodox results here. So that's really something to think about there. But yeah, honestly, guys, it's going to be a very short podcast tonight. And that's, we don't have much else to say. So we're gonna take a break, and when we get back, I really don't know what else to talk about, but we'll find something. So maybe we'll talk about my top 5 favorite Yankees of all time, my favorite Yankees. I don't know. So we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be right back. All right. Hey fellas, really quick before we continue with the show, I just want to remind you, if you haven't yet subscribed to BD4, be sure to do so right now. Just go to nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Little update really quick for, a little update for my family and friends out there who know me personally. Remember my promise. Now I'm 25 years old, just turned 25 back in April. But when I turned 21, my promise to all of you, was I wouldn't have a sip, not even a sip of alcohol until either the Yankees or the Knicks, but they never win, until the Yankees won the World Series. That would be the night where I finally drink alcohol. And I've made that bet or that promise when I was 21. When I turned 21, that was my promise to everybody who knows me. So we're still going strong there. But a little update, if the Yankees do, if this is all, obviously based on hypothetical, shit here, but if we do get this shortened season, even if it is fucking 50 games or whatever, and if the Yankees do end up winning, the World Series, if you want to call it that this year, I guess it still counts. I mean, I'm not going to get hammered, like I said, if they do win it this year, but I will have a sip. How about that? I'll go half in. That's my little update on this promise I made, because I just feel like it wouldn't be legitimate. I don't know. Like, I'll do it. I guess I'll do it. If they do win this 50-game season and win the World Series, I guess I'm keeping my promise. Sure. Okay. You have me on camera telling you, sure, I will. So I just thought I'd really, I'd start out with that really quick, just to keep you updated there. But yes, that was my bet with a couple of my buddies and my family when I turned 21. So in case you didn't know that, but it sucks that we don't even fucking get a chance to have a normal year this year. It does suck. It's so bizarre. Sometimes I go through the day thinking it's normal, but then it comes to you, it hits you. I had a routine every single night in the summer, every day. I wake up about 7 or 6 a.m., go to work at 7:30, come home around 7 o'clock, shower, get out of the shower around 7:15, 7:10, and watch the fucking game. That's what I would do. Get up, go to work, come home, shower, watch the Yanks. Every single night, guys. And I did this for years. Okay? I did this for I've been a diehard like this, watching all 162 for the last number of years, since I was, entering high school, maybe even the later years of middle school. I've been a diehard of this team, and I had that same routine. I would watch the Yankees at 7 p.m. every night. I would put the volume on the TV at 28. I would do that because it's good luck, knock on wood. But that's what I would do. I had a friggin' routine, and now it's gone. Now it's gone, and I'm getting used to another routine where it's just boring. We're in lockdown. We can't even watch any sports. Fortunately, some sports are coming back slowly, But the Yankees, that was my team. That's my favorite sports team. It's the Yankees 1A, Knicks 1B, and then everything else. The Giants 2. It's now I don't have that Yankees routine. I don't have that same thing every single excuse me, every single night. It sucks. It really, really does suck when you stop and think about it. So what else do I have? I wrote a couple notes down just because I really don't have anything to talk about. Yeah, I guess the internet's kind of bored right now, so they've been kind of generating different narratives, and one narrative that always seems to pop up here and then, every now and then, is this Derek Jeter is overrated narrative, usually generated by non-Yankees fans. And if you're a non-Yankees fan, you most likely hate the Yankees, being that they're the New York Yankees. So I don't take that seriously. Then again, there's the younger generation of fans who grew up and are growing up in a completely different time frame, where analytics is so popular amongst the younger fans, and sabermetrics is pretty much the end all be all to some of them. Some of them are very blind to it, so they don't really see baseball as it originally was and as it should be, let's be honest. More of an eye test game. So some don't really balance it out. That's where the hate comes on Jeter. Some just, or that's where the not hate, but that's where the overrated narrative comes from. I would say the analytical folk, and then the folks that just blatantly hate the Yankees. It doesn't help that Jeter was played in the biggest market again, so people don't like that, I guess. But hey, he's. I'm not gonna get too into it, but I don't take that topic seriously at all, because if anything, honestly, I think Derek Jeter has now become underrated just because of all these 17-year-olds, whatever, trying to pick apart his career analytically. I mean, he was the guy who hit well over 300 year by year, did it in the postseason, got on base too, so don't worry if you're not a batting average guy, he still got on base, 36, 37% of the time. And he did his thing in the regular season, but he also did it in the postseason for so long, so successfully for so long, and that right there is why he's not. He was a winner, 5-time champion, and people act like the Yankees. I hate the narrative that he only has 5 rings because his team was stacked. I mean, this is one of the reasons the Yankees were stacked. Derek fucking Jeter. You look at the numbers, incredible numbers. Didn't have the power that players do today, but he had fundamentals. He had a baseball mind, and he had the effort, just the work ethic. And again, a guy who always going to give you a 300 batting average year to year, doesn't strike out a ton, gets the simple single if he needs to, hits the double on the gap, got speed. The defense thing, I think, is what everybody knocks him for. The the sabermetrics defensively, hitting on his range, really giving him shit there. I think defense, especially in baseball, is such an eye thing. I really don't think you can measure defense with fucking numbers, and it's kind of sad that we've got young fans, but fans that are old enough to where they should realize that it's not always about statistical analysis, right? We've got 25-year-old fans out here thinking that numbers are the end all be all. And I'm always a guy who's for the balance. I'm not against anything fully. I'm for a balance. I just think there needs to be some kind of balance. And when Jeter comes into play, people always seem to, or the folks that think he's overrated always seem to lean towards the analytical side. It's weird. It's really odd to me how people can think a 5-time champion who just had so much success individually as well is overrated as much as they think he is. It's crazy. You could tell me his defense wasn't great, but I will never agree to saying his defense was so extraordinarily bad as much as people say. I don't think it was that bad. Just because the numbers say that, it doesn't mean I have to agree with something that was generated on a computer. But that's just my little input there. I'm not going to get too much into it. If I really wanted to get into detail, I could probably go on for 45 to fucking, 60 minutes and just nail every one of my points, but I'm not going to get too into that. I really don't want to go too long tonight. Like I said, it's there's nothing to talk about in baseball right now other than those boring, contract negotiations and all the nonsense going around with this proposal. Um, so, but my top five favorite Yankees, I feel like we should have touched on that earlier because we're about to wrap up, but that's fucking tough. Can we go back in order? Can we start with it's weird because I really think the core four is one. I really want to count the core four as one and then go 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what I would honestly want to do that. But if you want to be straight up top five, in order from 1 to 5, Derek Jeter, Andy Pettitte, Mariano Rivera. No, Derek Jeter, Andy Pettitte, Bernie Williams, Mariano Rivera, and I don't know. There's so many. Jorge, I don't want to exclude him. They got the Fab Five. That would pretty much make up the entire Fab Five. I just realized that. But I don't know. Who's my fifth? Jeter, Pettitte, Bernie, Rivera. There's so many greats, guys. Posada, I loved Posada, but I don't think I would put him in my top 5 personal favorites. Who is my fifth? See, I didn't write anything down, but I'm trying to think. Let's see. I don't know. I don't fuck. A-Rod. What am I talking about? A-Rod. And I know he's controversial, but he was my guy growing up. A-Rod was I thought I looked like him. That's how stupid and delusional and how much of a fan I was of him, where I convinced myself that I looked like Alex Rodriguez at one point. But yeah, that's my fifth, undoubtedly my fifth favorite there. Just because I grew up idolizing him. I wrote a letter to him when I was in the 4th grade, and he actually wrote back with a signed photo too, and I have that right over there. Yeah, it's definitely A-Rod. How could I forget? He had obviously a very controversial career. The ending of it there wasn't pretty, but at the time, growing up as a kid, not knowing all the details of what was going on during the PED scandal, A-Rod was just what intrigued me about the Yankees, making them that evil empire. I remember when he came over from the fucking Texas Rangers to the Yankees in the Alfonso Soriano trade, I was actually playing MVP baseball, and they didn't have the updated rosters yet, obviously, so I made it. I made a forced trade, and I traded Soriano to the Rangers, and I brought A-Rod over to the Yankees. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, I remember playing MVP baseball at the time, and then the Jeter trade, the A-Rod trade went through, and I immediately went to the settings and messed with the rosters and put A-Rod on the Yankees. And he was my favorite player ever since then. One of my favorites in my top 5. And yeah, that's my top 5: Jeter, Pettitte, Bernie, Rivera, Rodriguez. Excuse me. But that's it. That's my top 5. Let me know your top 5, guys. That would be fun. Let me know your top 5 comments. Comment on one of my Twitter, Facebook, Instagram posts, and let me know your top 5, or send me a DM, private message, or whatever. Speaking of, it's time for our, what's it called? Our NYY, NYK question of the day. Let's get to that. All right. So last time out in episode 133, when we were covering the Knicks, I asked you, which team did Stephon Marbury real briefly play for after his Knicks stint at the end of his career? Once again, I asked you, which team did Stephon Marbury go to after his Knicks stint? And the answer to that, I told you to message me on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or comment on any one of my posts of the podcast. The answer to that question is he played for the Boston Celtics. I think he played 23 games for them, and then that was it. And then the next couple of years he went to China. So Boston Celtics. Now tonight's NYK question of the day. Switching to the Yankees, obviously. Let's see what we got. So Aaron Boone is the current manager. Joe Girardi was before him, and Joe Torre was before Girardi. Who was the Yankees manager before Joe Torre came on to play? So Torre was hired in '96. There was one manager who was before him. Managed the Yankees for, I think it was 4 years. Yeah. Who was the guy? Who was the manager before the Yankees hired Joe Torre? So, yeah, that's it. Comment on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, message me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and all that fun stuff, and let me know the answer. And then, yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Really brief tonight. Actually, it was a normal 25 minutes, but a bunch of nonsense, nothing really important that we talked about. So, I do appreciate you coming by. So that's gonna be it. That's gonna be it for BD4, for episode 134 of BD4. And I'm signing out. Ciao.